Now, you guys have heard of Murphy's Law, right? Whatever can go wrong will. But I bet you didn't know that there's a classic car version of Murphy's Law out there, because I've been living it. That's next here in the Shade Tree Garage. All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. And it's a kind of a cool day here in Kentucky, and got the heater on, and if the kerosene kicks on, well, you won't hear me, but we'll just wait for the heater to run its cycle, start up again. All right, Murphy's Law, we're familiar with that, right? Whatever can go wrong will, and at the worst possible time. Well, there's a classic car version of that, and it's called Murphy's Law for classic cars, obviously. And the law goes, Murphy's Law for classic cars states whatever can go wrong probably already has. You just haven't discovered it yet. All right. Now that law applies to me and anyone else who's recently bought a classic car or acquired it somehow, because there are problems that are waiting for you to discover them. They're kind of like Easter eggs in a video game, you know, not as much fun. The first problem that popped up when I brought the car home, the previous owner told me that there's something going on. The battery runs down overnight. So I did a little work, searching for a parasitic drain on the battery, and it pointed to the alternator. So one new chrome alternator later, and chrome hardware to install it, of course, I had a brand new alternator and charged the battery, and the next morning the battery was dead. What are the odds that the same problem from one alternator to the other? Well, the test showed it was the alternator. And I'm thinking, this can't happen. What are the odds of this? Well, it turns out this car was rewired a couple of years ago, and the guy that did it reversed the two leads on the two-wire plug that plugs into the back of the alternator. This has a three-wire alternator, and those two wires were backwards, and always have been since he wired it up. So once I found that out, which took a little time because I couldn't believe that this guy is an automotive guy, and he wired the damn thing backwards. I switched the two wires, and it's perfect. Charge is perfect, doesn't run the battery down, parasitic drain, zero. All right, the other instance of Murphy's Law for classic cars came with my steering column. Now you'll notice I have no steering wheel here right now. Still working on that. That's part of this whole process. While I was working on the rest of the car, I was over here right below the camera. The passenger's door had no glass in it, and the roller mechanism was jammed up in the top of the door. So while I'm working on all of this and other things here, and you know, you're sliding around on the seat and grabbing for things, well, I'm probably grabbing on the steering wheel too, and somehow, and I still haven't figured out how this happened, the part with the turn signal and tilt wheel control tilted about 15 degrees clockwise. How? I still haven't figured that out. So I'm thinking, well, what's going on here? So while I'm messing with this whole assembly, the turn signal stick comes out. I mean, just it was there and then whoop, came out. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. What's going to fall apart next? Well, so take the wheel off, get the puller, pull the wheel adapter out. And so what do I find? The turn signal stick, it had an undersized fine thread screw stuck in it. Now that screw didn't really engage with the threads very well. It was just kind of in there until you played with it, and then it'd pop out. Well, I only used the turn signal a couple of times driving it back to my house, and the turn signal stayed in place. But give it a little jiggle, and it fell out. So I'm trying to figure out how this thing goes in, how it stays in, and I end up activating the horn. I thought the horn didn't work because it didn't have a horn button, but it has a horn and wiring, and well, it goes somewhere. Well, it comes to the steering column. So anyway, I do some research, and I find out that it takes a number 10 half-inch metal screw to hold this stick in place, a single screw. Now I'd considered adding a little epoxy or Loctite just to make sure it stays, but after I got the right size screw and the right length, it's solid. No problem now. Now I'm still trying to get, now the problem with the steering column. The shaft right here, you might be able to see the nut. The shaft of the steering column shaft sticks up above the level of the steering adapter. Now that wasn't a problem initially with this steering wheel. Now I love this steering wheel. I love the look of it. It's the classic 60s GM. It was a Camaro. I think Corvettes too use this similar type. And I love the steering wheel. And it looks good on here, right? And I love it. So, but it didn't have a horn. And so I'm thinking I need to put a horn on this. And so anyway, I found the horn, a cap, this polished billet aluminum ring that fits the center of it's a six hole wheel, and so everything looks beautiful when it's on the steering wheel. It's perfect finish for it. But you ran into a problem. As I said, the center shaft, even bolted down, sticks up just a little bit. So these two can't fit in the same spot. And I've been mourning the loss of this beautiful centerpiece. So, I'm trying to figure out ways to how in the hell do I make this thing work? I decide to get one of these. And let's see if you can see it or not. It is a adapter, a 1/2 inch spacer, basically. And it's got more holes than should be legally. It's confusing, but it's supposed to fit 5-hole, 6-hole, maybe even 3-hole steering wheels. And so it's a spacer that will go under the steering wheel and raise it up enough that hopefully it'll give enough room for the switch, for the horn button, to have enough room to operate. Now, the problem now is that let me see if I can show you this on camera. All right, you see the bottom spoke there? That actually sits on top of this surface. So there's a thickness right there, and the original horn adapter has a cutout so this fits. So the horn is flat against the surface of the adapter. Now, this spacer does not have a place ground out so that bottom spoke will fit, and so the wheel will fit level and not wobble when you rotate it. Go figure. So I've got, maybe today or tomorrow, I'm going to machine out that spot to make room so the wheel will sit level, and then maybe. And in a way, I hate to do all this work because there's no guarantee that horn button will not still hit the shaft. So it's kind of a gamble and a little bit of work. It may not pay off, but I'm going to give it a try. The other option, and I've gone ahead and ordered one, they make a horn button, the same company, I think it's Flaming River. They make a horn button that's not recessed. It actually sits, the button actually sits on top. It doesn't look this stupid, but the button sits up above the bottom level of the adapter of the ring above the steering wheel. So there's plenty of, there's almost 1/2 inch of space under the button, the horn button, for your wiring and whatnot to live. And I will tell you, I don't like the look of that. Right, I haven't seen it. It's not here yet. It'll be here in a couple of days. I'm not sure I like the look of it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get the adapter ring machined out for the steering wheel, and then we will try it again. And I have spent more time on this stupid steering column over the last 3 weeks than I ever expected I would. So it And that's just kind of the rule with classic cars, I guess, isn't it, guys? Those of you who've gotten cars and you're taking them apart and trying to fix things or change things into the way you want, you're very familiar with the classic car version of Murphy's Law. You know, it's just a matter of finding out what went wrong back when, you know. That's it for the Shade Tree Garage, and I'll be back again, probably trying to get this damn steering wheel on, okay? You think this is going to be fast and simple and cheap? Well, it's never any of those three, you know. And my body shop, my auto body teacher 40 years ago used to tell me, if you don't have an estimate guide, um, do your best to estimate the time it's going to take to do a job and then double it. And then you're going to be in the ballpark. So I think of him all the time when I think, oh, this will be quick. I'll get this done in no time. Wrong answer. All right. I'll see you next time here in the Shade Tree Garage. Have a great week, everybody.